to the Walking in Aloha Let's Talk Story podcast. It is Thursday, November 20th, and we are on day 49 of our 90-day jumpstart to 2026. So we are just moving along. Our weekly theme for this week is leadership and love, but our focus for today is love-led legacy. And the scripture is 1 Corinthians 6:14. Do everything in love. Do everything in love. Affirmation is, love is the legacy I'm leaving behind. If there was one thing that you would want people to remember you by once you are gone, once you are called home, and there's no more of you here on earth, what would you want people to know you by? I would want people to know me for my love. Love is the legacy that I'm leaving behind. So write down an action for your action step. Write down your top 3 words that you want people to remember you by. Choose one to live out intentionally today. Because leadership fades, but love remains. Today, I'm actually calling out. I called out sick today. I'm not going into work. While I was at work yesterday, I was having this pain in my side. And I was like, thinking that, oh, maybe I just had to go to the bathroom. Maybe, I don't know. And then it got to the point where I would be sitting, like at the TDC where I get the tickets or IDs or passports, and I would have to stand up because there would be a sharp pain, and it would just happen, come and go. So I would have to be like, okay, I, like I was asking, like, where's your? One of the ladies asked me, um, do you do you still have your gallbladder or something like that? I said, no, I took that out. She goes, well, that can't be it. And then I said, where's your appendix? And then they said, well, it's more in the back, or I don't know. We were trying to guess this out. And then one of the other ladies, I think it was our supervisor, she goes, that seems like a kidney pain. And, we're not doctors or anything. We're just trying to guess. But I was like, oh, I didn't like that one because there was some numbers, like you take your tests and stuff, but there was some numbers on my kidney that was elevated. So the doctor wanted to change my medication because it's crazy on how you take medicine for one thing, but then it affects something else. So she wanted me to change the dosage on one of my medicines because it might be affecting my kidneys. And I'm like, that is so stupid. Anyway, I was like, oh, whatever. But then this morning I woke up and I'm like, I'm still in that same achy pain. So I decided that I'm not going to go into work. I'm going to call out and take this time to figure out what's going on, like rest and, you know, just take care of myself, because that is one thing that we need to realize, is that we need to lead in a way that is like, we need to put that oxygen mask on ourselves first, before we can help someone else. And that's one thing that I learned when I was at retreat, because we're so involved in helping other people. We're so involved with doing things. And throughout this government shutdown, I know that the government is open now and we should be getting our checks in and all this stuff now. But we push through that. I've pushed through that, and it didn't matter if we were not getting paid. I still went to work because you want to be a person of integrity. I want to be a person of integrity, and so therefore I do what I have to do. Um, but you have to remember that you have to be able to put on that oxygen mask for yourself before you help someone else. There was this time, and it was so super, super hard. One of the hardest things that I had to do in my life. My son was drowning. He fell into the water at the river. He said his slipper got stuck and stuff like that. And when he went to go get it, like out of the rock, he fell over and he went and he fell into the water. So all I heard was "Mom, Mom," and then I noticed that he was in the water, and I I was holding my two dogs. I had wolf dogs at the time. I gave them to my youngest son, the littlest one, and I told him to go get help. And he took the dogs and he went off running, and I jumped in the water, not knowing we're from Hawaii. Uh, I didn't realize how cold the water was. I figure if I can just touch the bottom, I could, like push him up or something. I couldn't even touch the bottom. As I got closer to him, he started climbing all over me and pushing me down. I knew the first thing that we learn in rescuing someone, especially being born and raised here on the island, being born and raised around water, the first thing that you know and you learn is that you cannot get pulled down with someone else, because once you drown, you cannot rescue anyone else. And that's one thing that we learn. But that's my son. But I knew what I knew, and I had to push him off. And I prayed and I was like, God, you need to help me. If this is his time, then so be it, but you need to help me. I can't do this alone. And so I had to push him off. And as he was in a distance from me, where he couldn't climb on me anymore, I looked at him and I said, Daniel, you know how to swim. Look at me. We're going to float back. Lay on your back. We're going to float back. You know how to swim. It's okay. And I was so panicked. My heart is racing. I am shaking. I am so scared for the both of us. But he listens and he leans back and he's floating. And I said, okay, come on, let's go. You can do it. We can do it. Follow me. Listen to my voice. Let's go. Let's go. Paddle. You can paddle. And so we get back to the shore. He remembered that he knew how to swim. He floated on his back and we ended up back on the shore. But you see, I had to be able to think about the oxygen mask, right? I had to put the oxygen mask on myself first in order to save him. And sometimes we just have to do that. So today, I'm putting on the oxygen mask. But yeah, to finish off that story, we were safe. We were fine. We got back to the shore. God was in it all the way. Later, Daniel told me that, I looked so calm. I was so, everything was so calm, and he was able to swim out and go. But I wasn't calm. There was no calm in me at all. I was panicked. I was shaking. I was scared. But he did it. He was able to swim back. I could hear Paul and the dogs going the wrong way. They were going the wrong way, and so I was nervous for that too. I was like, oh no, they're going the wrong way. But God was in it. And like I said, God was in it all the way. So I knew the park was back that way, but I could hear the dogs, and I could hear them going the wrong way towards the school. There was no school. It was summertime. But what was happening was that God was pulling my son and the dogs towards someone who had a phone, right? The person had a phone. And the person who had the phone was like, okay, I'll call someone. And then they started back. And then they ran into someone else who knew the park. So then now the person who knew the park was able to follow my son back to where we were. But ambulance and the fire department was already being called. Emergency services were already being called. And all of that could not have happened any better, right? Any better than the way that it did. And when they came back, we were already fine. We were already out. And then the guy goes, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Then I'm going to stop the fire truck. I'm going to stop them. I'm going to let them know that you're okay, that you're out of the water." And I'm like, "Okay." I said, "I just need to get back to the car. He's cold." So we get up and we go back to the car. And the guy tells me, "I don't know how he did it. I could barely hang on to these two dogs when we were coming back here. I don't know how he did it." And Paul, he's so little, he looks at me, he goes, "But I lost my slipper." He lost a slipper along the way. And I was like, "It's okay. We'll get another one." But he was able to hang on to the dogs. And one thing that he said also is that he has bad asthma. And not once did his asthma act up or anything while he was being pulled by the dogs. He was breathing fine. And everything worked out exactly perfect. Got them back up to the car. Dogs were wonderful. Told them to kennel up, right into their kennels. No problem. Got the boys in the car, got them out of their, got Daniel out of the cold clothes into a blanket. Always kept extra clothes in the car. And I sat there and I cried and I cried and I cried and I cried. I was so thankful for everything that happened, but just knowing that it could have been different. could have been different, but it wasn't. God is so good. God is so good. So, like I said, that was the hardest thing I had to do in my life. But now my son, he's well, he's married, he has 2 kids, you know. I thank God. So sometimes doing a hard thing, though it may not look like it is the right thing at the moment, through love, doing everything in love. Like it says in 1 Corinthians 16:14, sorry. Do everything in love. And as a mom, sometimes your kids may not see how much you love them. But you know, and God knows. So, yeah, that was one of the hardest things I had to do. But today, I know for my kids, I do everything in love, even when they don't know or they don't understand. God knows, and I know. But sometimes in this world, we have to put on, our own oxygen mask first. And that is something that we need to remember to do. In all the chaos and in all the excitement of things that's going on around us, remember to put on that oxygen mask first. Love-led legacy. Lead with love, even if it means leading your own self first. Leadership fades, love remains. So until tomorrow, we'll end week 7 and we'll go on to week 8. We're just moving right along. So that is so great. I thank you. Thank you all for sticking with me throughout this whole 90 days. We are, like I said, we're moving right along. We'll be on day 49 tomorrow. So yeah, it's moving along. That's just amazing. Thank you all. And until tomorrow, God's blessings always, and ahui ho.